Hot Mike with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mike.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something. Is
Hot Mike. Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo. Dom Izzo.
Good Friday morning. It literally is Good Friday. Welcome, everybody, to Hot Mike on WDAY Extra and Inforum.com on this 7th day of April 2023. We're wrapping up the week. The weather is getting warmer. We're going to melt that snowpack a bit this weekend. That's exciting. Getting closer to actually having some spring sports around the area, which that will be really exciting. Ready for a big weekend. It's Masters weekend. We're just 3 weeks out from the NFL draft. Going to be some high times around here. We're excited about that. We'll tell you all about our plans here over the next couple weeks. We got something special in store coming up for this year's version of the NFL draft. It's great to be with everyone. I am Dom Izzo, host of said show. On a busy Friday, we got lots to get to today. It's the home opener for the Minnesota Twins, as they will play their first game at Target Field today after the postponement yesterday. The Twins will play the Astros coming up this afternoon, 3 o'clock at Target Field. There's always some energy there. It's opening day, the chance to see this team at home. The new jerseys will be debuted, which I think as we did our power rankings when they came out in December or January, I think the white jerseys are the leaders in the clubhouse, at least for me, of the redesign what the Twins did. Clearly the redesign of the pitching staff, much more importantly, has gone well. But the competition is going to change. You're no longer playing the Royals and the Marlins. You've got the Astros this weekend, the White Sox, then it's the Yankees, then it's the Red Sox, the Dodgers are in there, the Padres. I mean, you've got some heavy hitters on the schedule because you play everybody this year. So we'll actually find out how good this staff is over, I'd say, the next week and a half. May not be fair, but that's the way the schedule works. But the Twins getting ready to get their season going later this afternoon. Looks like the weather will be pretty decent, at least in the 40s. You could take that for consider. You know what? We'll take that, considering we just got dumped with, some of us, 1.5 feet of snow over the last couple of days. We've got plenty of good stuff coming up on our show today. Of course, we're keeping an eye on the Masters. We were fully expecting that Tom Hoagie would begin his round as we're on the air. But with the weather, and Tom talked to us when he joined us last Friday that it was going to be unpredictable, and they are calling for a heavy amount of rain even later today. There's a 100% chance of rain tomorrow at Augusta, with the temperatures not even getting out of the 50s, which I find hilarious that they were not necessarily crying about that, but upset about it. So everybody's tee time has been moved up. Hoagie's on the golf course now, which will show you how he's doing in just a second, at least update where his status is. It was a busy Thursday, so let's start, at least show you what Tom did yesterday. He teed off about 11:30 yesterday morning, playing, as we mentioned, with Phil Mickelson and Siwoo Kim in his opening round. Got off to a nice start here. Chip shot at the second hole, the par 5. Knocked that one in for birdie, got to 1 under. This, one of the more difficult holes, so the par 3 fourth. Good par putt, or birdie putt there. Cozied that one up. Stayed at -1 through 4. And that stretch, 4, 5, and 6, this is a par putt of the par 3 6 that he made. That's a really difficult stretch. He stayed at 1 under. Made a double, though, at 7 and gave a couple strokes back. Made a nice par save there at the 9th to go out in +1 through his first 9 holes yesterday. At the 11th, again, now the start of Amen Corner, which 11 got everybody yesterday, including Jordan Spieth, who made double. Scotty Scheffler made bogey. Hoagie there with a nice roll-in. He would make par. At the 12th, this is where things really got dicey. He thought he had a great tee shot here. Watch this, folks. This nearly was a bad bounce from going into the water. It was that close. It stayed on the green. He had this putt for birdie, nearly drained. I mean, he was close on his putting. His iron play was not great yesterday. His putting, though, saved what could have been a really high score. He would tap that in and stay at 1 over. At 13, things went haywire. His second shot went in the water. He has not played the 13th hole well. In his 2 years there, it's just been a struggle. He put his second shot in the water. That was a putt to save par. He would tap in and make bogey, which is a hole, the par 5. Everybody's making birdie. He dropped a shot there and moved there. He was now at +2. Then at 15, nice chip shot out of the bunker there. A bunker shot that he would be able to tap in for a birdie, which was his second of the day, and get him there back to +2 because he made a bogey at 14. He would bogey 17, as you're looking at the shot there. That's at the 17th, though. That was a really nice shot. Or 16, excuse me, as he put his tee shot in the bunker at 16, made par. He bogeyed 17, so coming home here at 18, he's standing right now at 3 over par. That's a great iron shot, though, into the last hole. At least give him some nice vibes. He would make that putt for birdie and shoot an opening round of 74 at +2. Things, though, have not gone well on the course so far this morning. He made an early birdie at the second, but now he's made 3 straight bogeys. He's bogeyed 3, 4, and 5, so he's currently at +4 and tied for 69th. He's got to be top 50 in ties, make the weekend, which right now, that is +1. We imagine the conditions are only going to get more difficult as the day goes on. I don't know if that means the scores are going to get higher, you would think, but right now, the course is gettable, and it's not going his way right now. So we'll update his round as we go, but currently sitting at 4 over and likely not going to play the weekend unless something drastically changes here over the next little bit. We'll see. Again, conditions are expected to worsen as the day goes on. That's why yesterday's rounds for the leaders was so impressive. Let's show you the 3 guys that are tied for at least were tied for the lead heading into today, starting with Norway's Victor Hovland. He was great yesterday. Went out early, attacked the golf course. We'll talk about his shirt later because not sure what that was about, but he was really good. This at the 11th hole, we showed you how difficult this hole has been. Drains that with the flagstick still in. Able to make that for a long birdie. You make that kind of putt, your day is going to be off to a great start. This at 13, that was for eagle. Would kick that in for a birdie. And he made an eagle at 2, birdie at 6, birdie at 8, birdie at 9, birdie at 11, birdie at 13, shot 65. John Rahm, we told you, started with a double bogey, then was flawless after that. That his approach at 18 was tremendous. Would knock that in. He shoots 65. That's after he started +2. So he went 9 under after that. And Brooks Koepka, who we've not seen because obviously Koepka's playing on the LIV Tour, finally healthy, went out, played a great round yesterday. That is a tremendous birdie putt at 17. Then coming home here at 18, I mean, this is a heck of a way to finish. You want to do this. You birdie 17, then play the slope as perfectly as you can at the 18th hole. Get that one within range to knock in another birdie, which he would do. And he shoots 65 as well. It's Koepka, Rahm, and Hovland were tied for the lead after the opening round. Now, Koepka's on the golf course already and is 1 under. He's at -8. He's a shot ahead of Jason Day, Hovland, and Rahm, who have started their round. So that is the early update on the Masters leaderboard as the golfers are out there. Everybody's tee time moved up because, again, rain is expected to be coming down pretty good here. And we'll see what that means for the conditions. But for Tom Hoge, it's going to mean he needs to start playing some better golf ASAP. And right now, things aren't going well. He's off the green at 6, which is the other par 3, and very well could be just 2 rounds and done this weekend at the Masters. Meanwhile, while that was going on, the Minnesota Wild played a monster game last night in Pittsburgh against the Penguins. The Wild in the home stretch here of the regular season. Still no Kirill Kaprizov. Maybe returns tomorrow against a Penguins team that was desperate last night. The Penguins started the night a point out of the final playoff spot, and boy, they came out blazing. Chris Letang with an absolute perfect shot against his former teammate and Marc-Andre Fleury. Got the Penguins off to a 1-0 lead. That is a wicked one-timer from Ricard Raquel there. That one just, I don't know how you stop that. Power play goal, it's 2-zip Penguins after 2. Then why can't the Wild get players like Jason Zucker? Blasts home that one-timer. It's a 3-zip Minnesota lead. Fleury had no chance on that. The Wild got one back on a Marcus Johansson power play goal here that was a complete fluke as it goes in there off the skate. That made it a 3-1 score. The Penguins would add another one here from Jeff Carter, and they roll the Wild 4-1. More importantly, Joel Eriksson Ek got hurt in this game. He did not return. That's not good. Oscar Sundqvist got hurt. He did not return. And the Wild now have scuffled now. They've lost 3 straight. I understand they got a point in the game against Vegas, but they lost the game in Las Vegas, lost to the Knights on Monday in the shootout, and now lose this one, and now have fallen out of that first place tie, as we told you about in the Central Division standings. With just, for the Wild, there's 4 games left. Colorado and Dallas each won. Wild have picked a bad time to lose 3 in a row, as Dallas has won 2 in a row. The Avalanche have won 3 in a row and have leapfrogged, which now means the Wild have gone from winning the division to now playing on the road for the first 2 games of the playoffs. They would play their first 2 against Dallas on the road. This is the current playoff matchups as we sit today, with still a week to go in the regular season. Avalanche will play the Kraken. The Kings will play the Oilers. That'd be fun. And Vegas will play Winnipeg. Boston, the best team in the NHL, will play the Islanders. Toronto would play Tampa, Carolina, Florida, and Jersey, and the Rangers would be the opening round matchups as it stands today. Wild are back home with the Blackhawks tomorrow. The schedule softens a bit here down the stretch for the Wild. It's Chicago, then St. Louis, then Chicago, then Winnipeg, then Nashville. Those are the final 4 games for the Wild. Last thing here before we wrap up our opening segment was from the Frozen Four. Of course, we checked in yesterday with Jess Myers previewing the Gopher game. Minnesota played the early game yesterday against Boston University down in Tampa, and the Gophers, it was a tight game early on here. This is just a fabulous goal. I'm not sure we can say enough about how good this one is from Rhett Pitlick, because Aaron Huglin, the pride of Roseau, look at this pass. Between the legs, no look to Pitlick to tap it in. That's sensational. That's fantastic. Made it a 2-1 Minnesota lead. Jay O'Brien would answer for the Terriers here on the power play in the second period on a perfect wrist shot. That knotted the game up at 2 nearly midway through the second period. But after that, the Gophers took over in the third. Luke Middlestat on a power play goal in the third period would break the tie. This Gophers team, as Jess was saying, just so dynamic. They've got weapons all over the place. So that's a tremendous wrist shot. That was the first of 2 goals that he would score in less than 2 minutes' time. Logan Cooley would add a couple of empty net goals for the Gophers, and they would take what was a 2-2 game and turn this one into a 6-2 final. This is the second goal from Middlestat as they go on and win it. 6-2 is the final to send Minnesota off to the national championship game. They'll have a date there with Quinnipiac. Those were the projected 1 and 2 teams in the country before the season began. Quinnipiac took care of Michigan in the second semifinal, so it'll be the Gophers and Quinnipiac on Saturday night for the national championship in Tampa. 7 o'clock on ESPN on Saturday night. Minnesota trying to end a 20-year drought. 2003 was their last national championship, and boy, they are poised to do that. That's coming up on Saturday night. We have a fun show planned for you here on this Friday morning. Just a few minutes, Logan Campbell will join us back in her usual Friday slot. Lots to chat about with Logan. She's been up at NDSU football practice. Give us the latest what's going on with the Bison. That's coming up in just a few minutes. At 10 o'clock, Peder Haugo will join us. Fargo North senior-to-be running back who has now got offers from North Dakota State and the University of North Dakota. One of the top in-state prospects for the class of 2024. We'll visit with Peder about how this recruiting journey has gone and plenty more to come in anticipation of a big senior year for the Spartans, who, of course, made the state championship game last November, losing to Jamestown. And at 10:35, now outgoing Fargo South-Shanley hockey coach Dean French will join us. Yesterday it was announced that Dean is stepping down as head coach of the Bruins. Perfect way to go out. His team won the state championship in overtime in February, beating Grand Forks Red River in just a dynamite hockey game. We had Dean on that Monday after they won, and now stepping away as head coach of the Bruins. So he'll join us coming up at 10:35 before we wrap up on this Friday. That and a heck of a lot more here coming up on our 2-hour tour. We'll take a break. Hot Mic is off and rolling. We're back after this on WDAY Extra and Inforum.com. I think Hopper's got an open for you as well coming.
Really?
We got a new one for Mike. We got a new one for Kyle. Colpack's one we haven't touched one because that's pretty good. Dick Bramer's got one. We're going to work on a new one for my dad. We got one coming for,
I'm
for you
excited
as well.
to see it. Can only imagine what that's going to look like.
It'll be all right. Logan Campbell joining us here in her usual Friday time slot. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
I'm
doing well.
going to hit you here because I'm going to need you
gosh.
for a second segment.
Okay.
Because we're going to do a new game with you each Friday. We're going to test how much Logan knows about Virginia.
Okay.
The native of Virginia.
Oh gosh.
Today's
Gonna
on
put Virginia to
today's
shame.
on sports stuff. It's sports stuff in the Virginia DC area today. Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna do that in the next segment. All right. So
Okay.
you can. I got 5 questions here.
Oh
so
gosh, I feel like I'm gonna be so
You're
bad
gonna
at
do
that.
great. It's gonna be great. I want to ask you because it's been the talker of the week, and it's completely unfair to ask you because you're a woman, but you need to answer this because of what went down in the national championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has an opinion. I had mine. I'm a white guy. It doesn't. Everybody. That's how sports talk goes. Did you have an issue with what happened at the end of the game with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark?
No.
I didn't either.
No. I mean, I think that's
Caitlin
just
Clark gives it to everybody.
Yeah.
That's the thing. She smack talked everybody.
Yeah. No, I don't really see a problem with it. I mean, I think that's just who they are as sports personalities as well. You know, Angel Reese is known for this big personality. Caitlin Clark's known for
And
this
she
big
played at
personality.
Maryland, right?
She did play at Maryland. The DM and someone who played, I can't remember who, but someone played for UConn also came from Maryland.
Yeah.
So, but no, I don't think that there was an issue at all. That's just their personalities.
I have absolutely zero issue with it.
Caitlin Clark didn't even have an issue with it.
No.
She literally said,
Right.
stop hating on her.
Right.
No,
The
I
problem,
thought it was fun.
It got exacerbated then when the first lady then wanted to invite Iowa as well, which that I didn't get because LSU wouldn't have been. I totally agree with what Angel Reese said that LSU wouldn't have been invited had Iowa won.
No.
You know what I mean? Like
No.
I didn't get that either. The people that I kept hearing on Monday, especially Monday, the day after the game, was that it was aggressive or was so. No, I have no problem. Did she do it right to her? Yeah, that was the whole point of it.
Yeah. She wanted to be seen.
I mean, you're courtside. You hear smack talk all the
who
time.
Did I say this? I said that the amount of smack talk I hear between the men's and women's teams.
It's not just the men's game.
No, you
out
just
there.
don't see it.
Right.
I hear everything.
Yeah.
And me, Todd Phelps, Matt Larson, Colleen, we're all there just like laughing. And
Yeah.
we're all like, oh, did you hear that? Did
Yeah.
you see that? Like, we hear it all. You guys just don't hear and see it. It's a competitive sport. You're going to see stuff like that.
I love the fact that
And you want to know something?
Yeah.
More people are noticing it because more people are watching.
absolutely that was my next thing.
Yeah.
That the ratings for the game, nearly 10 million people watched the game, which is the highest that
Crazy.
they've ever had. I fully anticipate that game is going to be Sunday night prime time on
It should be.
ABC next year.
It should be, especially after this year.
And you have all of the same characters. They're going to be back. Doesn't mean that Iowa and LSU are going to be in the national championship game. South Carolina will be back. Connecticut has Paige Becker's back next season, so I have to imagine UConn is going to be back in the mix of things. I hated that was the takeaway because it was a great tournament. The players were great, and that was what everyone was I knew it was going to be the case after it ended on Monday.
It just kind of ruined it.
A little bit. It took away the shine of how much fun it was.
Yes,
you know?
for sure. But, I mean, that's the sport. It's a competitive sport. You're going to see stuff like that.
I think there was a lot of this that said, I can't believe that women would do that. I think there was from older white guys, personally, that was like, I can't believe that would, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm glad they didn't see me play soccer because I was talking mad smack.
I didn't understand the overtures of that was just like, it's competitive.
What do they want them to do?
Yeah.
Just play and like shut up and go home.
I don't know what the deal
That's
was
no
on
fun.
that. No, not to me. I didn't get that whatsoever. So you've been out at Bison football practice here.
I feel like I should be part of the team because I'm there every single morning at 7 a.m. And I'm not a morning person. So it's so hard for me to get up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, here I go to practice.
Access has been a bit limited, so you're only eyeballs into this. What have you seen so far here through the first? Well, now we're a couple weeks into this now. 3 weeks in.
I'm seeing a lot of the younger guys step up. I'm trying to think of who are some of the guys that I've seen really do well. We just did some video of Makai Collins. We'll have some stuff on him next week.
Wide receiver from Mankato.
He gained a lot of weight this offseason. Caden Zenzen, actually. He also said he gained a lot of weight. That's been the biggest things with the younger guys I've talked to, just putting on this weight and changing their physique. I've seen it. They look huge. I tell you, Enoch literally looks bigger every single time I see him. He still does. But I'm still intrigued to see what the safeties are going to do.
And who's going to play that spot, right?
I have yet to see Cole Wisniewski with the linebackers. Of course, I'm only there for 30 minutes when they're doing individual drills, so who knows what happens when they're doing the team portion.
But at the time you're there, he's only doing
safety
work.
Only doing safety work. So that's something to keep my eyes on, especially when fall camp rolls around to see where he's at there. Ryan Jones, I would like to talk to him soon whenever we're allowed to go back to practice and talk to him and just see how comfortable and how he's settling into his role, because I'm assuming he's going to have to step up this next year.
Well, he's going to give it every opportunity, I would imagine, between now and they're going to have their showcase, quote unquote, the spring game 2 weeks from tomorrow to wrap up things. I would imagine between then and now he's going to get, and then when the page turns for fall camp, that to me that month is going to be really interesting to see who ends up being, what's the depth chart going to look like when they step on the field at US Bank Stadium.
On the
really
defensive side.
Yeah.
Especially with linebackers. Like, I have no idea what that rotation is going to look like.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if they want a rotation.
I don't think they
you know
do.
What I mean?
And
if you want
it
three
didn't work
guys,
for them.
And especially in the middle, yes, I agree. But if
work.
they want three guys to say, these are our linebackers here, and this is what we're going to roll with. I know Grant talked to us about it briefly at Pro Day. Like, we've got a ton of guys that can play, but you need – I think even he would agree, because when he played, he never came off the field. There was – they have a set, maybe a fourth guy to rotate in and, nickel situation and stuff like that. But I don't know what's going to work out there. It didn't work in the middle, I can tell you, last year.
And I'm going to give my too early guess.
Okay.
I could see Logan Kopp being that steady middle linebacker. I think he's a smart player.
Okay.
And I think that what I've seen, he's been more vocal. He's been coaching the younger guys up. So I think that I could see him starting at that middle linebacker position. I could be totally wrong. But that's just that's my guess.
Okay. You're gonna let's put that down now. We got that marked down at 9:27 on April 7th. Now there's no going back.
They're gonna watch that and be like, okay, never mind, we're not putting him there.
But the part of people keep asking me, what's going on with the Bison? I don't know if anybody knows. You know what I mean? Like, our access. No one cares if we can get in there or not. But you know what I mean? It's like it's tough to really get a sense of where things are at right now.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Even when I'm there, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just like bopping around, just like looking at the different positions, especially with the tight ends and the fullbacks. I watch them closely, and I'm like, I don't even know what's going on.
And there's a bunch of those guys that aren't out there
Logan
right now.
Hofstra and Hunter Brosio
are
practicing.
not there, and those guys are going to be heavily in the rotation.
Right.
Tight ends a spot. Joe Stuffle is back. Mm-hmm. After that, there's a lot of question marks at that spot. If Carson Williams and Finn Diggins, are they going to be ready to step up into prime time and be ready to go?
Fall camp's going to be really interesting. And we thought it was interesting, 2 years ago with the quarterbacks?
Yeah, there's no doubt.
But this year is going to be really interesting.
And in terms of that spot or everywhere?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. I think every position, for the most part, is up for grabs. So we'll see.
Every position is up for grabs, you're saying?
No, for the most part.
Okay.
A lot of them on the defensive
side. Is quarterback one of those?
I don't think so. I think Cam will start. I think we will see more of Cole Payton.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised at some point during the season we may see a switch depending on how things go.
Okay. All right.
But I don't think that one is up for grabs right now.
Right. Okay. Bold. You got coming in here with hot takes here. I was not ready for
that. State my my energy is high today.
My heart's not ready for this yet here. Holy
taking
cow.
shots today on
I
this
guess
Friday.
so. Holy cow. I mean,
new month, new me. Just kidding.
Well, I mean, on quarterback, everybody has their 2 cents on. Cam Miller he's not done anything to lose the job. I think the most popular person always is the backup. I still contend that I don't know if Cole Payton is advanced as far as where NDSU would hope he would be. No. If that was the case, he would have done more last season. You know what I mean?
I think
after that pass against South Dakota State, he was never allowed to throw the ball again. And heck, we barely saw him after that. You know, it was really sporadic. He got hurt in the Samford game, and we didn't see him again the rest of the season outside of the fake play against Incarnate Word in the semifinal.
But you also can't judge one person off of a season they had. There's so much time in between this season and next season.
Yep.
So we'll see where his game develops.
Yep.
I know they want to see more throwing from him during this offseason. So we'll see. I don't think that Cam's going to lose a job right now. I don't think. But who knows what happens. We didn't think Quincy was going to lose the job at any point either.
And he didn't lose the game. That's the crazy part about that. You know?
So you don't know what's going to happen.
I'm intrigued, and the schedule also, and we got to go here because we got our game we're going to play after the break. It suits up, though. I mean, the home schedule certainly is really conducive for the Bison. I mean, I'm going to count the Eastern Washington game as a home game because it will be at U.S. Bank Stadium. They have Central Arkansas and Maine. Those two teams are not at the upper echelon of the FCS right now. You have South Dakota here, and they're starting over again. Western Illinois here. You have Murray State here and Southern Illinois. SIU is, I think, going to take a step back as well.
Who do you think is going to even have the biggest crowd with all
of those games?
Yeah. What game
if you're telling me as a fan,
yeah,
none of them.
Yeah.
None of them I would. No, homecoming will, and that's South Dakota. That's the homecoming game.
That's probably the best one that we're going to see.
Southern Illinois will be all right. That comes later in the year, but not Murray State, not Western Illinois. And I think those games are back-to-back. You know, the road games, obviously, are the Dynamites. The one at UND, at Northern Iowa, at South Dakota State. Those are the heavyweight games of the year. But honestly, those games I just rattle off, if they win all those, they're 8-0. So, I mean, they're in the playoffs. Even if they lose the 3, which I think at worst, this team is 9-2. With all what you said there, I think at worst they're 9-2.
I think so too, but also the competition level isn't what it used to be in the FCS.
Nope. That's like we were talking about.
I'm not saying the team is bad at all. I'm not saying the team is bad. I'm just saying the competition
it's the whole of the
is
division.
not there.
That's why we talked about when we were there in Texas. This could be the first of many times these two teams are playing for the whole thing.
100%.
So, all right, we're going to take a break. We come back. Our first edition of a new Friday staple. How much does Logan know about our own state of Virginia?
Oh, no.
We'll do that when Hot Mike returns on WDAY Extra at Inforum.com. Welcome back, everybody. This is an up-to-date look at the Masters leaderboard. Give us the traditional look there. This one's tough to read. Give us the traditional one. Looked like that Brooks Koepka was -10. Hoagie's going the wrong way. Currently now he's at +5 for the tournament, tied for 75th. And again, as we mentioned at the top of the show, if he's going to play the weekend, he's got to be, well, it's top 50 in ties, which right now is +2. So he's going to have to do some major turnaround here to make it here. He's played through 7 holes and currently sitting at 3 over for the day. He stopped the bogey train. He made 4 straight bogeys and just made a par at the 7th. Back here with Logan Campbell for our new Friday staple. Because you listen to a radio show that I like that plays a game on Fridays. And I'm like, why don't you do that? I'm like, you know what? That's a great idea. Because you mentioned that to me. We're going to do that now on Fridays. Don't start the music yet. Don't start. I want to set it up.
I'm going to look like a fool.
So just for the baseline so you understand.
Okay.
So this is questions I have. Today's mostly on sports, just so you're aware.
Okay.
On the Virginia, D.C. area, because for people that don't know, and you've been here for almost 2 years, you are from what town in Virginia?
Herndon.
Where's that close to? For people that
30 minutes south of D.C.
Okay, so you're close to.
Close-ish, yeah.
And the nickname for that area is the
DMV.
The DMV. So
Delaware,
what does that stand?
Maryland, Virginia.
Okay.
Yep, the DMV,
Okay.
not the car place. The DMV.
Scott Van Pelt mentions it all the time because obviously
He's from there.
He's a Maryland guy.
Yeah.
So for people that watch his show, they hear that acronym all the time. So at least today, that's what we're going with. Okay. I got, what do I have here? I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 questions for you. Okay.
Oh no.
You're gonna do great.
I'm not good at like quizzes.
Neither am I. But this is what we're gonna do. So okay. So are you ready to roll?
I think so.
Okay, boys, we can hit the music. All right. So
My head.
you don't have to know off the top of your head, but we do have a time limit because the show ends at 11.
Okay. Okay. That's probably good.
All right.
Okay, you got UVA,
Okay.
Virginia Tech,
2,
JMU,
3,
ODU.
4,
Does VCU count as a D1 school?
5.
VCU. Does Radford count it?
They're
D1 in
6.
soccer.
Yep. The answer is 14, by the way.
14?
You got 6.
Oh my God. This music, I feel like I'm at a spa with this music. What is the easiest one? I said UVA, Virginia Tech.
Eric, don't give her the answer.
Okay. I said JMU, right?
Yep.
What is the easiest one? Yeah, give me a hint.
No.
That's Penn State.
No, that's first off. That's Marshall, and Marshall's in West Virginia. So you get off the.
We're so close, but I can't even think of 4 more schools. Bridgewater is not one.
Our guy
Sorry,
Zach
Zach. Yeah.
School. No.
Oh gosh.
You're missing a couple of obvious ones here.
Mary Washington, UMW.
No.
Obvious ones.
The 4 you'll be upset that if you don't get these.
What cities are they in?
Fairfax.
George Mason.
Okay, 11.
Give me another hint.
Williamsburg.
Oh, William and Mary.
12.
Oh,
I don't know.
I said ODU already.
Yes.
Did I say Norfolk State?
Yes.
Is that D1?
Yep.
Virginia State Wise is not one. I used to get emails from them all the time. They're not one.
Lynchburg.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
No, the city is Lynchburg.
Oh, I said Liberty.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay.
So
then you got
give me the town.
Hampton.
Oh, Hampton, Sydney.
Yeah. So
I forget about that. Is that still an all-boys school?
That's 14. I think we got everybody.
No, we got it.
Oh, yeah. Longwood is the only one you didn't get.
Who goes to Longwood?
And that's in Farmville.
Yeah, who goes to Longwood?
Well, those are the 14.
Okay.
They're pretty good.
That
You got
wasn't
10.
bad.
Okay.
Do I get a point?
Well, I'll give you partial credit for that. Okay. Next question. Name 3 teams that James Madison beat in 2016 when they won the national championship. The three of the 4.
NDSU.
There's 1. They beat 4 to win the championship that year. You got to give me 3 of them.
Who did they beat in the...
You remember who they beat in the championship game?
No.
It's a school in the
Youngstown.
same... That's it. That's 2.
Okay.
You got to give me 1 more.
UND, did they play them that year? Was it
No.
Montana? They just played them.
They just played them. They scored 1 million points on one of these schools.
I was a loose fan, and I was just drinking during these games, so I don't remember.
Okay.
I was not watching.
So one of the schools is a league rival. Well, was a league rival of James Madison.
Villanova?
Not Nova.
Richmond.
Not Richmond. I'm going to give you 2 more guesses here.
A rival? Delaware.
No.
Who was other than them?
You want to try one other school?
A league rival of JMU? Yes, give me a hint.
No.
That made no sense. A person broadcast for this school. That could be a million.
I'll give you one more guess, and we got to move on.
Okay. So, like, not just in the CAA.
There's one in the CAA and one that's not. It's
and it wasn't
it's in
Villanova,
Texas.
and it wasn't. Oh, Sam Houston.
There you go. Yes.
Okay.
The one you're trying to guess was New Hampshire.
Yeah.
New Hampshire.
It
was New Hampshire. New Hampshire, Sam Houston, the Bison, and Youngstown.
Okay, I forget about Sam Houston.
You got 2 out of the 4 there.
Okay.
All right. Now to the team you used to work for, the one that's you're close and dear to your heart.
Okay.
All right.
Don't ask me what.
This is gonna be a tough one. This is tough, okay? Because I struggle with this one. You got to name 7 Washington Commanders starting quarterbacks since 2015. So just over the last 7 years. Now, this is the crazy part. I counted this up. They've had 15 guys start at quarterback. So if you can give me half of them.
Did they just started the season?
Just one game. All they had to do was start one game.
And how many do I have to do?
Give me 7.
Okay.
They had 15 of them.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
There's 1.
Taylor Heineke.
2.
Sam Howell.
3.
Those were the most recent ones. Alex Smith.
4.
Did Mark Sanchez play during that?
5. Nope, that's before that window.
Oh, shoot. Who did they just have? Who was before Alex Smith and Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Boy, people in North Dakota are going to hammer you here if you don't get one.
Oh,
there's
Wentz.
1. There's 6.
I forgot about
Okay. Can you give me one more?
Yes, I can. I can do it. One more. Oh, Kirk Cousins.
Okay, there's 7.
Yes.
Here are the other guys you left out. Josh Johnson. My guy, Colt McCoy.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Case Keenum.
Yep.
The late Dwayne Haskins. Kyle Allen. Couldn't pick him out of a street if he was next to me. I have no idea who that guy is. And Garrett Gilbert was the other one.
Garrett Gilbert?
Yeah. Started the game
name.
in 2021. He's a former Texas quarterback. Those are
I literally was not going to say Carson Wentz.
So you got that one. Name 3 of the Commanders' last 5 first-round picks.
Dwayne Haskins.
That's 1.
3 of the last. Jamin Davis. I will never forget when he got picked because everyone was like, who is this guy?
That's 2.
3 of the last 5.
Yep.
Was Brandon Sheriff a first-round draft pick?
He was, but it's before that time. It was 2015. He was
it has to be in that.
Since over the last 5. So going back to 2019.
Terry McLaurin. No, was he second round?
He was not a first-round pick. Yep.
I'm really not doing well.
You're going to hate yourself for the guy.
Give me the position.
Defensive end.
Oh, Chase Young.
Yes, Chase Young.
Oh, my gosh.
You remember last year's first-round pick?
No.
Jahan Dotson.
Oh, Jahan Dotson.
Yeah.
Jamin Davis. Why is that the one I was there?
There was one other one you forgot was Montez Sweat. He was the other first because they had 2 picks in 2019. I'm going to give you that one. You got that.
I did get that one.
All right, last one. Who did the Capitals beat to win the Stanley Cup in 2018?
That's not fair because I was in a different country when that happened. And I was up at 6 a.m. watching them. Was it the Las Vegas Knights?
There it is.
Let's
Bingo.
go.
There you are. All right.
I did not do well. The hardest one that you asked, and I will say you guys need better music because I felt like I was at a spot.
I'm gonna change that one. I just listened to it this morning. Yeah, I'll change that. I'm gonna find something different. All right, guys, then go for it then. You got all this free time. Give me something then.
The hardest question you asked was the schools. I forget how many schools are in Virginia.
I didn't know. Honestly,
there's so many.
It's a fun game to do because I was thinking of this. I'm like, all right, there's I'm gonna see how. I know she'll get a few of them. I forgot. I thought Radford was in North Carolina.
It's at the very edge.
People would forget on William and Mary, I think. You got the
best
ones.
sandwich place ever is at William and Mary, the cheese shop.
And then I would have blanked on Norfolk State. You got them right away. The music's over. The segment's done. Don't worry about the music anymore.
That was a random one. Hampton Sydney, I forgot about.
Yeah, Hampton's the only other one.
Is that still an all-boys school?
No.
It was at some point.
They're in the CAA now, Hampton is.
They are?
Yeah, they're a member of the CAA now. So, all right.
That was fun.
So we'll do this again next week.
Okay.
Again, we'll test your Virginia, D.C. knowledge next
Bring
week.
it on.
So,
And I have a game for you. That
all right. We're taking a break there after our visit with Logan. And she'll have actually a cool story. We should have teased this. Coming up on Sports Sunday, visiting with Grant Nelson's family about how this has all changed their lives over the last little bit, and what's to come is certainly going to be life-changing over the next couple months. That's coming up. We'll have that on Sports Sunday, Sunday night at 10:35 on WDAY. Fun stuff. She visited with Grant's mom and dad and his brother, who's basically kind of taking the reins on everything. That's coming up on our show on Sunday night, 10:35 on WDAY. Let's get you an update back from the Masters. Tom Hoge makes par at 7 and at 8, remains at +5 overall for the tournament, tied for 74th. And again, we mentioned earlier, he's going to have to make some birdies here on the back nine, which traditionally is the easier of the nines, in quotation mark. But even right now, with the way that the leaderboard has shifted, he's going to need to get to +1 right now because it's top 50 in ties. And the leader is Brooks Koepka, who's went out and shot 3 under through the front nine. He's at -10 currently as he gets set to play the back nine at Augusta National. Real quick story I wanted to share before we wrap up our first hour. And it comes in the sports TV world, which is, where I live. And it's on the Pac-12 and their college football negotiations for their TV deal. Stu Mandel from The Athletic reporting that right now the Pac-12 is talking to the CW about a potential television deal there, which is not ideal, I'd say. Two sources indicated there have been recent discussions between the Pac-12 and the CW, a national over-the-air broadcast network better known for scripted shows like Gossip Girl, Supernatural, and Riverdale. Since purchasing the CW network last year, parent company Nexstar Media Group has expressed interest in procuring live sports rights, announcing in January, of course, they have the deal with Live. The Pac-12, whose current deal expires in the summer of 2024, remains on pace for a customary media rights timeline. Last August, the Big Ten announced new agreements with Fox, NBC, and CBS almost exactly 12 months before they were set to commence. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know everything about sports TV, but I can tell you if you go on the CW, that's not good. That's not where you want. If you want to save your league, if you want to keep Arizona State, Colorado, Utah not leaving for the Big 12, the CW's not going to get them to stay. ESPN is cost-cutting. I think people know that. They're going to be laying off a ton of people here, which is terrible to say. You don't want to see that to happen to anybody. But Disney corporate, I think, announced they're going to have to let out 7,000 jobs. That's from Disney. So it's not just ESPN, it's the whole company. But when you're paying Troy Aikman $18 million, you're paying Joe Buck $15. I don't even know what Stephen A. Smith gets. I mean, you have massive talent fees on top of huge sports TV rights, right? And they are certainly going to be in play for the new college football playoff expansion. They are monstrous. And they're going to get into the NBA deal. They're not going to get squeezed out of the NBA. They've put their eggs in that basket. They're obviously in the NHL right now. They've reduced their baseball coverage. They certainly went all in the NFL. They have the most expensive TV rights deal in the NFL with their Monday Night Football package. And now that'll include flex scheduling on Monday Night Football this year. But eventually you're going to have to, part ways. That's what they did with the Big Ten. They got priced out of the Big Ten. If they go back in with the Pac-12, it's not going to be for the deal they had. And if you're the Pac-12 and all this, is the CW where you want to be? That's why if you're one of the school presidents in there, and even with UCLA and USC gone, I don't know if this is where you want to be. Utah's president said, I think we still have a long ways to go. That was in the middle of March when he was interviewed, asking about a television deal. Their next presidential meeting for the Pac-12 is on April 10th. That's on Monday. At this point, maybe you take what you get. Maybe it's a shorter-term deal. You're not going to get like a 10-year deal like the SEC did with ESPN or what the Big Ten got with NBC, CBS, and Fox. But right now, beggars can't be choosers. The Big 12 is looking better and better by the day, what the Big 12 got with ESPN. Because the Pac-12 now is sitting out here saying, who's going to have our games on? The only advantage they have is the time slot. But now you don't have UCLA and USC in your league. People going to stay up to watch Cal play Oregon State at 10:30 at night on the East Coast? Nope. We'll break. We come back. We'll introduce you to one of the top high school football prospects in North Dakota for the class of 2024. Fargo North's Peder Haugo will join us in studio when Hot Mike returns on this Football Friday. We're back after this on WDAY Extra and Inforum.com.
This is Hot Mike. Hot Mike on the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody, to Hot Mike on this Football Friday. WDAY Extra, Inforum.com. We'll update you quickly here on the Masters as Brooks Koepka is tearing it up here. 3 under par through his round. He's at 10 under. He's got a 3-shot lead over Jason Day. Victor Hovland hasn't teed off yet, or John Rahm. Those are the guys he shared the first round lead with. They moved tee times up because the weather is expected to get poor. Fargo's Tom Hoagie currently 3 over on his round, 5 over for the tournament as he gets ready to play the 9th hole there. So he's set to make the turn at Augusta. We are pretty pumped to have in studio one of the top high school football players in the state of North Dakota for the class of 2024. Senior to be from Fargo North, Peder Haugo joins us here in studio on this Friday. It's great to see you, man. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Life has gotten quite interesting over the last couple weeks. Tell us about, you put it out there, you've had now official offers to play football at NDSU and UND. Tell us about the reaction when those came through.
Yeah, I first got the NDSU offer, and it felt surreal. Growing up 5 minutes away from the stadium, and then finally them giving me the opportunity to play, and just having the faith in me, I don't know, it was crazy. And then going up to Grand Forks the week after, getting the UND offer, and then kind of just seeing my phone blow up from coaches and everything. I don't know, it's crazy because you always see it online and everything, but finally being a part of it.
That realization of, and you can actually come a little bit closer to the mic, that's perfect, but when you get the official phone call or even in person, hey, we're going to offer you, tell me what the realization, like, okay, they think I'm a Division I football player.
Yeah, you always kind of grow up seeing the top athletes maybe on YouTube and stuff, and you're always thinking in your mind, wow, I can't compete with them, but just more of the head coach is telling you, yes, you can. It's just crazy.
What realized for you that, you wanted to play Division I football? When was that realization in your mind, like, I want to do this?
Probably as soon as I stepped foot on the high school field,
yeah.
I realized I don't think I could live life without playing football, or I don't want to be an adult and look back and be like, wow, I can't, or why did I not play as long as I could?
When you see how, just even over the last now a couple weeks, now that offers have come in, have things started now to accelerate? Are you hearing from people that you haven't heard from before?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We kind of call it the first offer effect. Once you get one, they just start rolling in. And, I've heard from some coaches I'd never expected to hear from, but, yeah, it's just crazy.
Anyone you want to share?
I think I should keep it under the table for right now.
Okay. Just to have that, though, that now you're getting messages from people you don't know. I mean, how exciting is that? And also down to kind of parse out, like, all right, these people are interested in me. These maybe they don't know anything about me yet, that I don't know how much attention I want to give to them.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the local schools, because they've been in contact with me for a long time, I want to give a lot of attention to them. But, I mean, there's a couple schools out in the West that I feel like they're just kind of giving me attention just because NDSU and all of them. So they don't know me on a personal level, so it's a lot different.
So when, I believe was it last September 1st, that's when the actual contact could begin?
That's when it was open.
So tell me, like, when did the phone start going right away, or was it a slow burn on that?
It was slow burn.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I got any contact until like November, December.
No kidding.
So, I mean, I for sure expected a lot more right when September around, but I feel like junior season really made that take off.
Well, I want to talk about that because obviously you guys had a dynamite year, making it all the way to the state championship game. Just to have this now this is what your life is going to be like for the next how many ever months until you commit. How do you feel about, handling that? How has it gone over the first couple weeks of this?
I mean, it's definitely a lot more pressure, and especially with basketball just ending too, I feel like it's kind of hard to keep focused on both of them, but I know for sure I need to focus more on the high school football part. That only 1 year left, but yeah.
Is it exciting? Is it fun? Is it nerve-wracking? Is it all three?
It's for sure all three.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously want my main goal right now is to get a state championship, but I still need to bring a lot of attention towards those coaches and make sure I'm getting my opportunity that I would like.
Exactly what you like the recruiting part. Is it exactly what you thought it would be, or has there been things that surprised you about it so far?
I mean, there's been a lot of more surprising things. I feel like I didn't think it was going to be as personal as it was. I didn't think I'd be getting coaches calling me all the time or texting me, asking me to come over to eat dinner, stuff like that. But I for sure thought it was just going to be maybe a text, oh, here's your offer, and then never speak to me again. But it's a lot more conversation, trying to get to know you, build a relationship type of the deal.
And I'm sure the full court press has been on, but how to handle that and just take this all in and just, I want to make the decision when I want to make the decision.
I mean, I'm just trying to get as many looks as I can over at NDSU, UND, or wherever I go. But I mean, just them being so close to home, it's just easy to go, oh, let me stop in for practice and go visit. But yeah, just crazy watching their practice.
What position is it different for each school?
Different for each school, but mainly defense for most. I feel like maybe a little too tall, not quick enough to play running back, but we'll see. Maybe I can.
He knows how well you play defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of went across weird when I was the coaches. I was like, oh, okay, I like the ball in my hands, but I mean, I'm not against the idea. Wherever they want me to play, I'll play there.
That's a hard thing, I imagine, to try to get used to, because people. I'm the guy who gets the ball. Was that a hard change, or is that just a mentality like, okay, if this is what I want to do, this is what I'm going to have to do?
Just more mentality thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm not going to get it exactly how I want it, so kind of give up and get take.
Peder Haugo joining us here in studio after he's got both NDSU and UND have offered football scholarships. He's got a few more visits, as we were visiting off camera about. I want to just go back just a couple weeks ago here. It doesn't seem that long ago. You're part of the Fargo North boys basketball team as well. Yeah. We had Coach Haugo on the show that Monday after. Mm-hmm. Tell me about those 3 days and how special that was.
I mean, there's about a core of 5 guys that have played, or maybe like 7 or 8 of us that have played together since 4th or 5th grade. And we've always kind of looked up to the team being like, wow, we want to win a state championship, like since 5th grade. Finally getting to the tournament, winning that first game only by 2 and looking up to Century and their undefeated record. Right. Like, wow, that's going to be a tough game. But I feel like once we got that game under our belt, got a big win against Century, we kind of knew that it was maybe destined for us to win.
When you came out for warm-ups on championship night and saw that crowd in the shack, tell me what that was like, just for you personally. You played in the Fargo Dome in the state championship. What was that comparable at all, or not really?
It wasn't really comparable. I mean, maybe there were more people at the Fargo Dome game, but just the shack's so close and so compact. And I feel like the entire north side was there just to come out and support us. So
team.
It just brings up the momentum like to an entirely different level. I mean, we see him dunk all the time and everything, but the crowd reaction is really what gets your heart pumping. Like, oh yeah, it's our time to grow.
How long have you played hoops? And was that something you wanted to pursue? Because you're obviously tall enough. Was that something that you were thinking about?
It wasn't really something I was thinking about. Kind of just played to be a part of the team.
Yeah.
But I mean, I for sure enjoy it. Just
to have it cap off the way it did, what was that moment like? Tell me in the locker room when you guys, after the celebration, like on the court stuff, when you guys were just as a team, what was that like?
I mean, we were all just kind of sitting there just like, wow, like this does not feel real, taking pictures with the trophy and I don't know, just sharing just how thankful we are for each other. I mean, it was for sure a team game or team tournament. I mean, we all had great games, but yeah, just really saying thank you to everyone.
Did you get a piece of the net? Did you get that?
Right in my face, yep.
And it could have been the double because, as I mentioned, you guys played in the state football championship.
Yep.
And it's been a long time coming for Fargo North. And you saw it, that North had not been good for a long, long time. You grew up with that.
Yeah.
So when you got to either 8th grade or 9th and freshman year, it's like, okay, was there a change? Was there a mentality change? Like, okay, we want to be the guys to turn around Fargo North football.
Yeah, I mean, well, coming in freshman year, I feel like everybody's kind of looked at our class and been like, wow, that's the class to really turn around North. So maybe there's a little bit of pressure coming in freshman and sophomore year, but once we finally, like sophomore year, we kind of took off and had a pretty good season, got to the semis that season. I mean, we kind of just knew, we got to put in the work, we got to get it done.
As you mentioned, you made it to the state semis in 21. So this past fall, tell me about that group and it's like, okay, we're ready to take this one step further. We can do this.
Yeah, I mean, just building along how everybody's kind of looked at our class. I mean, we've always known that that's what we have to do. But, I mean, with the kind of the big leaders in the football team. So, I mean, getting the experience with the state basketball game and state football game, that'll really help us this year.
I'm looking at your schedule, and you guys, we had the first game when you played Horace right off the top. Tell me when last year you got a sense like, okay, we've got something here. Was there a game, a moment that stood out to you?
I mean, the first game up by 50 at halftime, we were like, wow, this is like, we could really be something special. And I think the big game that really made us think was when we went out to St. Mary's and beat them by maybe a touchdown or two. That was like a key mark game that we were looking at from the beginning of the season. So I feel like once we got that one under our belt.
Even beating South, that was a thing that, I mean, people will hammer me on the north side because when I did First Down Friday, I'm like, well, it's been however long since Fargo North has beaten South. How big was that mentally to get over the hump and beat those guys?
I mean, it felt great. Everybody's kind of looked at South being superior to North.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I kind of took it with a chip on my shoulder, like, no way. They're not better than us. Like, I know we got to win. And just it being the state semis, too, it just put a little more fuel to the fire. So.
Yeah. Coming out of the Dome and playing Jamestown, I mean, I know the game didn't go the way you wanted, and Jamestown's now got you 2 years in a row. Sorry I don't mean to bring up bad memories, but that experience, what was that like of taking the field at the Dome that day?
I mean, just taking the field and kind of looking out the crowd and being like, wow, this is the moment that was the first state championship I've ever been a part of.
Yeah.
So that being the moment, like, wow, I've always kind of looked up to this moment, kind of just brought me into focus and, like, take it in while you can, but it's time to get locked in and ready to go.
As people will say, well, wait a minute, it's not the same anymore because there's new classes of football and North doesn't play, West Fargo, Davies, Cheyenne. How do you react to that? Would you want, well, I know it's out of your hand, the scheduling. Would you welcome playing those guys?
For sure. I mean, freshman year, we played all those teams, and we were undefeated against them. So, I mean, I kind of take that with a grain of salt when they say, oh, they're a better class than you guys. Like, no, I feel like we could for sure go out there and compete and even beat most of the teams.
I miss that. I miss having all the Fargo. It's only been a couple of years, but I'm missing the Fargo schools play one another.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you firmly believe you guys could compete if you put you guys up with Shanley and Davies and Cheyenne and West Fargo. Let's go.
Oh, for sure. I feel like we could for sure compete with them.
The level of football in the city right now, how good is it?
I mean, I feel like with the amount of D1 recruits that we're really just seeing in our class, I mean, for sure growing. I don't know, maybe like 5 years ago if there's been a lot of big D1 recruits, but I feel like it's at a pretty good size. But I feel like if any of our teams, I mean, my cousin plays at Moorhead, but I feel like if any of us went over there, we'd get smacked by Elanius and Austin over there.
Moorhead's all right.
Yeah,
Buck's got some guys. They got a couple Division I guys playing there. Did you try and convince Michael to play football? Was there any? Because, I mean, all he did was score touchdowns for the Spuds this past year.
I mean, I wasn't a part of that conversation, but track's the easier sport, so I'll kind of get.
He can fly, though,
yeah,
man.
I
think he picked the right sport. He can do that. Tell me what's ahead now, timeline-wise, for over the next couple months, and when you hope to have a decision of what you want to do.
I mean, just going at visits, talking to the coaches, building a relationship with them, and really just seeing what they can bring to me and what they can put on the table. And then, I mean, July is my end. If I don't have a decision by then, I mean, got to get it going. Got to have one by July.
And you're not holding firm on playing running back. If someone says, hey, we're going to offer you a scholarship, but you're going to have to play defense, you're on board with that?
Yeah, I'd love to play some defense.
Has this whole thing been not eye-opening, but just like, wow, this is what life is going to be like now? How have you handled that?
I mean, it's just a lot more camera spotlight. Like, maybe I can't go do the stuff I really want to go do. I got to be more careful with what I'm sharing and everything. But, yeah, for sure been eye-opening, just having a lot more cameras on my face.
Just to have the kind of season you had, I mean, you have a benchmark of, like, I want to get this many yards. I know you want to win. You want to win every game.
Mm-hmm.
But is there in your own mind, you had 18 touchdowns, I want to get this many? Do you set goals like that, or is it different personal goals that you have?
It's more different personal goals. I feel like the offense, will come just because, I don't know, maybe I just like our scheme, and I feel really good to me. But I feel like more of the defensive side is where I can really pick stuff up. Just make more plays, make maybe 2 touchdowns or 2 turnovers a game or something like that. More of the defensive side.
So Coach Rowland, I know, is a UND guy. Is he pushing?
Yeah.
How much is he telling you how a great Grand Forks is? Has he done that?
No. Right after I got the NDSU offer, I went into his office and I was like, hey, they offered me. And he's like, well, I'm just going to tell you, I'm not going to be biased with you throughout the whole process. So I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. So I wouldn't want to go in there and him be like, UND. Like, come on. Be true with me.
Now, can you confirm? Have you ever seen him smile? I've tried to make him laugh on the show. Have you actually got him to smile?
Yes, I have seen him smile. We won't say when, but
I was going to say, you don't whack it. You give us the time when it happened?
I mean, I was at the Red Hot Chili Peppers last night, and he was there, and I just saw him, waved at him, and he gave me a little smirk.
How was the show last night?
It was great, amazing.
All right, very cool.
Great show.
All right, so you do track as well. I have to ask you this because people will watch my show. I've hammered on this for a long time. Why is it okay that the spring sport athletes just get completely hosed? That you don't know when you're going to have a chance to even do anything outside.
Yeah.
Like when you literally started track practice, was it the day after basketball?
The day after basketball, yep.
It doesn't make any sense. Like,
no.
Why don't we start till April?
Yes.
You know, is that talked about with you guys at all?
I mean, track, maybe not, but baseball for sure, because track, we have maybe the indoor meets that we can go do and everything, but for sure the baseball guys, I talk to them all the time saying, like, do you guys really love practicing inside the gyms? They said, no, I'll lift or do something else with my time rather than go out and practice every day just in the gym. So
if they were to move everything like 3 weeks later, do you think that would help in getting more people out for softball, soccer, track, at all? Considering you're not doing anything outside for probably another week and a half, I imagine, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it would get a lot more people out for track, maybe not baseball and everything, but just nobody enjoys running inside. That's terrible.
Have they told you, give it any sort of update on when that potentially could happen, when you can get outside?
No.
Yikes.
I mean, we've been running outside in the Fargo Dome parking lot, getting some
right?
workouts in. Yeah, we've been getting some workouts in there. Yeah, but.
And now track is supposed to be coming on the south side of the school, right?
Yeah, I think they have the asphalt down there. Now they just need to put down the actual track surface, but that should be done hopefully in June sometime.
So you're going to have to come back and get a chance to run on that, huh?
Yeah, I know.
It's great to see you. Thanks so much for coming by. I appreciate the time, and we'll catch up again when you're ready. If you want, you come. You make your decision on the show. The invitation's there. If you want to do that, you can come back and do that.
All right.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Great to see you. Congrats on a great run, and look forward to seeing what happens this summer. Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
There he goes, Peder Haugo, senior to be at Fargo North, standout running back, linebacker, safety, you name it, and also state champion basketball player as well. We'll take a break. Hot Mic continues after this on WDAY Extra at Inforum.com. Welcome back, everybody. Friday morning edition. Hot Mic rolls on. WDAY Extra, Inforum.com. Our thanks to Peder Haugo for coming by in studio. That was good stuff. Young man from Fargo North who's got some decisions to make in the not-too-distant future. And you look at the 2024 North Dakota football seniors, rising seniors. It's led by Riley Sunram from Kindred. Peter's probably right in the mix. Isaiah St. Romain from Williston in there as well. He's got an offer from the Bison. That happened a couple weeks ago. There's a few others that are certainly going to be discussed. It's a better class for North Dakota in 24 than 23 was. And that's no slight to our 23 guys, but it's just the level of player when you have and Nate Tasted's another one from Roulette. Don't forget him. He's probably right there, right underneath, I think, Riley in terms of football potential, and that's all you're banking on when you're offering guys like this. But when Sunram literally has University of Miami, Florida, NDU, Kansas State, Nebraska, Minnesota, you name it, they're there. That's a different level of football player than we're talking about over the last couple of years. And that's going to be the exciting part, I think, as we move into the spring/summer months, and where recruiting really will heat up on how that's going to bear out with some of these guys. That'll be fun to follow. Just a quick update, as we have been all morning long, from Augusta and the Masters. Brooks Koepka still has the lead by 3 shots. He's 3 under par through 12 holes in his round. They moved tee times up because of the inclement weather that's going to hit Augusta. Fargo's Tom Hoge having a day he'd like to forget. He's 4 over par through 10 holes, now at +6 for the tournament, currently tied for 78th. Right now, the projected cut is +2, and he is 4 shots above that. So he's going to need some magic here to even try to get a sniff of playing on the weekend, which obviously was the main goal, to be in contention. And that par 3 jinx will likely continue, it looks like. After he won the par 3 on Wednesday, had some good vibes, and just has not carried over to the golf course. And I know he'll be extremely frustrated with that. And we'll update it as best we can over our last half hour. We'll have highlights coming up on our news tonight at 6 and at 10. Real quick, we did the graphic yesterday. I don't know if the guys still have it on the Timberwolves and where they sit heading into the final couple games of the season. The NBA regular season wraps up this weekend. The Wolves last played their win on Tuesday over Brooklyn. And the scenario, thanks guys, it sits as this. If they want to be in the top 8, they got to win their last 2 games. Meaning they got to beat the Spurs, who won. San Antonio got to 21 wins. And beat the Pelicans, who are right above them in the standings. They go 2-0. They guarantee a top 8 seed. Now, to make the top 6, we thought was nearly impossible because they needed to win their last 2, and then they needed the Lakers, the Clippers, or the Warriors, 2 of those 3, to lose 2 games. Right? And the Clippers beat the Lakers straight up. Now, tonight, the Lakers and the Suns play. So there's a chance there. The Lakers would have their 2 losses. But, again, you still need either the Warriors or the Clippers to lose 2 games. Okay? And the Warriors, they play Sacramento tonight. Chance there, but then they play the Blazers the last game of the season, and they're tanking, even though they beat the Wolves. And the Clippers, they have 2 games left. They play Portland tomorrow, and then the Suns. I don't see, because the Wolves have the tiebreaker on all those teams, but they still need them to lose twice because the Wolves have stunk down the stretch. Or, and this may be the more likely of scenarios, if they go 1-1, they're the 9 seed, and they will host then Oklahoma City or Dallas. It's the 10 spot is still to be determined there between the Thunder or the Mavericks. The Wolves can't fall below 9. The lowest they can finish is 9. But again, that's not the spot you want to be in because you got to win twice then to just get it into the playoffs. If you're in the 7-8, if you're in that game, all you got to do is win 1 to make it into the 7th seed, and you're getting Memphis again, it'd be a rematch with the Grizzlies for the Timberwolves in the opening round of the playoffs. That's why the 6th seed was so desirable, because if you get 6, you play Sacramento. And the Wolves have owned the Kings this year. I think they beat them 3 out of 4 times. But that looks like it's probably gone by the wayside right now. But if they are able to win their last 2, you're in the top 8. Potential still to get the 7th spot. And by the time we come back on Monday, we'll know all of this, with the Wolves having a huge game with the Pelicans coming up on Sunday to wrap up the NBA regular season. So a lot to be determined there. There's only one playoff spot left up for grabs. It's either going to go to the Thunder or the Mavericks in the NBA's Western Conference, as Dallas finally won a game. They have lost 7 of their last 10. Meanwhile, on the East side, I think everything has been sewn up on the East side. Just seeding is the only thing that's left to be determined on the Eastern Conference. We're due for a break. We come back. We'll visit now with outgoing South-Shanley head coach Dean French about hanging it up after winning the state championship in February. We'll do that when Hot Mike returns after this on WDAY Extra and Inforum.com. Welcome back, everybody, to Hot Mike here, Friday morning edition, WDAY Extra, Inforum.com. We had one coach on our show yesterday outgoing as we saluted Brandy George, the Thompson boys basketball coach. He announced he was stepping down earlier this week, and we got the email yesterday. Another one of our favorites has stepped down, and this is, boy, the ultimate way to go out. It's like the John Elway way of leaving, as Dean French announced yesterday that he is stepping down as head coach of the Fargo South-Shanley boys hockey team, fresh off a state championship win that happened at the end of February up in Grand Forks. And Coach is good enough to give us a few minutes here. Last time you were on, we were chatting about a state championship win. Did you know that was it, or is this something that came to light over the last 5 to 6 weeks?
No, I think I knew pretty much all season long that this was going to be the end of the road for me. I tried not to make it a big deal or to talk about it with the players or anybody else, because I wanted to keep the focus on what they were trying to accomplish. But for me, I pretty much knew it all season long.
Then did that make it even sweeter then to just take it all in?
Yeah. There's a lot of times in any game like that where I think they had a player hit the goalpost in the second period, and you think this could. But those two teams, are both really good teams and have played. And, there's been some great battles, and so, like I said, that game could have gone either way. But I'm just very happy for our kids and for myself, obviously too, that it ended the way it did.
Tell me why this was the time to step away.
I kind of what I wanted to do when I took the job, when I talked to Mike Beaton and Dr. Birch about it, and there's sort of an arc of where I wanted to go, and I felt like we've done that. We've accomplished what we set out to do. My goal was to try to, get as close as we could to being on par with Central and Red River. They're the benchmarks that you shoot for, and we wanted to get this program up to where we could compete with them year in and year out. And early on, we struggled, but over the last 5 years, I think we were 9-9 against Red River, and I think we're 7-5 against Central over the past 5 years. So we've reached a point now where we're competitive in every game, and we feel like we have a shot. We've taken third or higher the last 4 years, and so I just felt like we reached a lot of the goals that we were shooting for.
When you reached the state championship game in 2020, I remember that. To get to that part, did you think, okay, we're close? Did it take longer than you thought? I guess maybe is the long-winded version of what I'm asking you.
No, I think it's hard to get to the championship games. Just a couple of things that are interesting. I've been involved in high school hockey. This is kind of weird, but I've been involved in multiple seasons of 4 different decades. So, I played in the 80s. I coached for a couple of years in the 90s. And then I took a long hiatus, and now I was back, in the 2010s and the 2020s, and so I've seen a lot of different things happen along the way. And one of the things that's happened is the EDC has become extremely difficult just to get out of. Just to get to the state tournament, you have to win some very tough games, and every year there's a couple of really good teams that don't get there. So, I feel like we've been to the state tournament 5 years in a row, and we're pretty proud of that because it's hard to do. So, and then, to win a tournament, I've been with co-op teams my whole life. In the 12 years, 3 years as a player and 9 years as a head coach. I've been with co-op teams and typically ranked 4th or lower in all seasons but one. So just to get to a championship is hard enough. And I've been to 6 of them. So this is my 6th state championship game.
Man.
And I think there's only 7 other people in the history of North Dakota that's done that. And so it's hard to be in state championship games. And then once you get, I said, I don't have a great track record. If we get there, you might want a different coach. but we finally won one, but yeah, it's really hard. So no, I was proud of the group. I was proud of the guys that kept trying year in and year out, and I was proud of this group too for finishing it off. Yeah, I'm proud of what we accomplished. I was thinking about this. I didn't get a chance to talk to Tim Scarfoot about it, but he and I have something in common that's kind of unusual. And I think Mike Peluso is the only other person, but we've been involved in state championship games in 3 different venues. And I think they're the only 3. I mean, so I go back to the old UND Winter Sports Building and played and coached in state championship games there. And then, of course, at Shields in 2020, and then at the Ralph.
Wow.
All great venues. I love Shields for the state tournament. I think it's fantastic. And up until this, we got a chance to experience the Ralph. It is an amazing facility, and they just do a really nice job there. So all 3 are great, but honestly, between you and me, Dom, I think the old UND Winter Sports Building is my favorite. It was such an amazing venue for high school hockey. Well, I remember the game that we broke, I think Central's 81 game streak. And this is a fascinating story to me anyway, but the night before that we were practicing, and I think I stopped the guys probably 7 different times to tell them stories about teams that won big games. Like, I remember telling them about watching the United States Olympic team win in 1980, and I said I watched that game live, and I remember that. And I was telling them about times where I saw Grafton teams beat like a Grand Forks team that they had no business beating, but they beat them anyway. And so I was telling them that they can do it, and all that you guys can do it. And it's funny because I'm good friends with Nate Kirkeby, and Tanner Kirkeby was playing for us then. Anyway, I must have stopped the practice 7 or 8 times to tell them all these stories. And later that night, I talked to Nate, and I said, "Well, did Tanner tell you what we talked about in practice?" He goes, "Yeah, I asked him," and he said, "Did Coach mention anything?" And he said, "No, not really." And I'm like, so I guess I'm not sure how much they listened, but I remember getting them all fired up for that game, and then we won that game, and that was a very memorable night for our program.
I look at where North Dakota hockey is now, Dean. When you step away from it now, where do you see the sport as a whole, where we're at right now?
I actually think it's in outstanding shape. I looked at, I told, a couple of, actually Sean Bollinger, Davies guy, I told him, I said, I really thought that next season, not this past season, but going into next season, there are probably 8 teams that I would say are all fairly well on par with each other, and almost any one of them could win it from Bismarck Century. I mean, I'm assuming, I'm hoping that top players come back, like, Vig and at Century and others, but assuming players come back, you got Fargo North's going to be really good, you got Century's going to be really good, Central's reloading, Red River's going to be strong, I think South-Shanley will be right there, Davies is going to be good, Cheyenne and West Fargo are going to be, it's I think the quality of the teams and the coaching and the structures and the systems are really good right now, and the games are fun and they're tight. And I said, to somebody the other day, I said, the game has changed more in the past 7 years than I think it did in the previous 20, with so many more system-based things and the ability to watch everybody play and to scout so much more. And games are online nowadays, so you know what everybody's doing for power plays and penalty kills, and you have to make adjustments every single game, it seems like. Interesting story. We adjusted our power play every day during the state tournament this year. And on Saturday, the state tournament game, we actually had some time to kill because we stayed up in Grand Forks all week. We went to the mall and worked on our power play on dry land in the mall. So that's what we're doing on the power play because every team makes adjustments to you, and you have to make your counter adjustments, and that's how complicated it's getting nowadays. And it's fun. That makes it a lot of fun.
Last question before I let you go. So let's say it's a Friday night in December. What do you think is going to go through your mind this coming December or January that you're not going to be coaching?
Oh, it's going to be painful for sure. I miss the boys immensely. The players are everything to me, and the excitement, and just I look forward to going and watching and seeing the looks on their faces and seeing the excitement. It's why we play the game. It's for fun, and they sure have a lot of fun playing. So I look forward to that. But yeah, I'll miss it a lot.
Well, I want to tell you, thank you for everything that you did with our staff and always being accessible, and for any interview, especially coming on our show. And like I said, man, you left the.
I appreciate it, Dom. Thank you very much.
There he goes, Dean French, head coach at Fargo South-Shanley, as he goes out a state champ, stepping away after leading the Bruins for the last 6 seasons. And progressively, you saw South-Shanley get there to battle. As he mentioned, he wanted to get them in the conversation with Central and Red River, and certainly did that, and able to go out on top. That's pretty good stuff. I want to break now. When we come back, Mike Florio's got a really intriguing story from Pro Football Talk regarding one Trey Lance. We'll do that, what to watch, and we'll say so long for the week. Right after this on Hot Mike on WDAY Extra and Inforum.com. All right, final segment of the week here as we get set to head into the holiday weekend. For those that observe, hope everyone has a great weekend, see some family and friends, and enjoy the moderately warmer weather that's coming with the sun attached to it over the next couple of days. Excited about that. I teased this before we went to break, so we better do it here quick for get you an update on everything that's going on. Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, headline, Trey Lance could use a fresh start. Says in the article, for Lance, a change of scenery could help him. Last week, 49ers general manager John Lynch didn't slam the door on a potential trade. Earlier in the offseason, Lance raised eyebrows with emojis tweeted after former 49ers executive Rand Carthon became the GM in Tennessee. And then he adds, Florio goes a step further and gives him a potential destination. He says, here's a potential transaction that makes plenty of sense. Lance for Mac Jones, straight up. The 49ers would get the quarterback many believe Shanahan wanted to take with the 3rd overall pick in 2021. The Patriots would unload a disgruntled player who has alienated coach Bill Belichick by overriding the Stepford Patriot programming. The two teams did some quarterback business more than 5 years ago, of course, for Jimmy Garoppolo. This would be an intriguing bit of potential business if both sides realized that it could be the best way for both players and both franchises to move forward. How about that? I am in the mindset that I don't think Trey Lance is going to be playing in San Francisco in 2023. I think I've said that before. I'll just say it here. I do not think he's going to be with the 49ers this season. They have clearly made their bed with Brock Purdy. They signed Sam Darnold to be his backup. You can say whatever you want about Darnold. I saw him up close for 3 years. I thought he was going to be the guy with the Jets. One of the many I thought was going to be the guy with the Jets. But Darnold actually played well at the back half of last season with the Panthers. That he seems like he's the odd man out, talking about Trey. That, yeah, it was 2 years removed from them making the monster deal to move up to that spot. The 49ers, you've seen it. Everybody watch. San Francisco's there. They are poised to be the team in the NFC. They were there. If Purdy doesn't get hurt, who knows how that game plays against the Eagles. Does Philadelphia still win? Probably. Who knows? That, to me, would maybe make sense for everybody. Teams are more willing now to bite the bullet and say, you know what? Didn't work. We tried. The assets we gave up for it, we're still have a dynamite offense. We've got a really good defense. Let's see what we can get. I think you're seeing more and more now that teams are willing to accept draft blunders. Look at the Jets are a prime example. The Jets are already moving on from the guy they took right ahead of Trey Lance. Zach Wilson's out of a job. That's the guy they took right ahead of him. So don't sit here and tell me that they can't make a move. Other franchises doing it too. Granted, I know the Jets are in a different spot than San Francisco. The Jets believe they can contend. That's why they're going all in on Aaron Rodgers. They've got every other piece except that. 49ers believe they have every other piece, and now they've got this guy that maybe doesn't fit with their roster. I'm on that mindset. I don't think he's playing with the 49ers this season. We'll see. Let's get you ready for what to watch. Before we do what to watch, let's get you updated. Tom Hoagie has made a birdie, thankfully, on the golf course, his second of the day, to offset the 5 bogeys he's made. He just birdied the par 3 12th, which is one of the more difficult holes of the golf course. He's playing Amen Corner right now. Par 5, 13th up. He's currently at 5 over for the tournament, tied for 74th. The current projected cut line is +2. So he's got to make a couple more birdies here. 3, in fact, over the last 7 holes, if he wants a chance, 6 holes, to play the weekend. That's where it's at now. Now, the inclement weather is coming, so that may push the line up. So even if he gets to +3, maybe that gives him a chance to play the weekend. And he's got some birdieable holes, 13, 15, maybe 18 could potentially do it. But that's where things stand. Right now, Brooks Koepka is running away with it. 4 under on the day, 11 under for the tournament. He's got a 4-shot lead over Jason Day, Victor Hovland, and John Rahm heading into his final 5 holes of the second round. So we'll update you on that in our news coming up tonight at 6. Now let's get you ready for what to watch, which includes the United States playing Switzerland in the Women's World Hockey Championship. That game is going on right now on the NHL Network. U.S. is already up 2-0 if you want to flip that on. That's the second game of the round-robin phase of that tournament for the United States being played just outside of Toronto. Masters coverage begins at 2 o'clock on ESPN. I don't want to say you're going to see tape golf there, but you may see tape golf. They're on from 2 to 6, but everyone with earlier tee times, I imagine, hopefully there's no delays, but we'll see. That's at 2 o'clock today on ESPN. And the Minnesota Twins open up the home portion of their schedule 3 o'clock against the Houston Astros from Target Field today on Bally Sports North. Always an energetic environment at Target Field, and it'll be Sonny Gray on the mound for the Twins this afternoon as they look to snap their 2-game skid after losing the final 2 games of that set against the Astros. Houston's throwing, who's got the Astros? That's Urquidy. Jose Urquidy is going for Houston today, that game on Bally Sports North. We got to roll. Thanks to our guests today, to Logan Campbell, Peder Haugo, and Dean French, and all of our guests this week. It was a great week of shows. If you missed any of them, you can podcast them all at Inforum.com. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the Masters, the final weekend of the NBA season. We'll recap it all on Monday. We'll see you then on Hot Mike on WDAY Extra and Inforum.com. Have a great weekend, everybody.